This is part 4 of chapter 2, The Living World for Standard 6. This video was made just for you. Do remember to like, share, and subscribe. In what way are plants and animals useful to us? We know that all plants and animals are interconnected. We had learnt about the food chain in Standard 5. So we know that each and every thing on this earth, that is living, non-living things, are all interconnected, and if anything, if the link is broken, so the other animals or the plants are also affected by it. Now plants are used for household as well as industrial purposes. Now household means we use it for food, we use it in our homes as well as in industrial, for the industries. Now for example, fenugreek, that is methi, potato, okra, that is bhindi, apple, banana, and many such vegetables and fruits are used as food, while vasaka, that is adulsa, you can see the picture of it on the right side. Then there is hirada, bihada, asparagus are used as medicines. So all plants, many of the plants are also used for medicines. Now just like plants, animals are also useful to us. We know that dogs and cats are useful and are kept as pets. So also cows and buffaloes are useful to us. Cows give us milk, buffaloes are used in the fields, are kept for domestic uses. Now fish, sheep and fowl, that is fowl is all the birds, that is hens and ducks, are used as food, while animals like horses, oxen, camel prove useful in various occupations. That is, they help us to carry load, they help us for transportation. And even the earthworm is very, very useful in agriculture. We know that the earthworms make the soil loose, and so it helps the farmers in plowing their field, in loosening up the soil. And so even the tiniest of worm to all the animals, all the plants are all very useful and are all interconnected. Now, just like the plants and animals are useful to us, they are also harmful plants and animals. Now, some animals and plants around us are harmful to man. For example, mosquitoes and flies spread diseases, and cockroaches, mice, rats destroy our food. Lice, ticks also spread diseases. The bites of some poisonous lizards, spiders, snakes, and scorpions can even cause death. If wild elephants enter human settlements, that is where human beings live, out of the forest, out of the jungles, sometimes the elephants come out of the jungles and they destroy the human settlements where the humans beings are living. So that causes a lot of destructions. So animals and plants can also be harmful to us living things. Now let's look at some plants that are very harmful. Some plants too can be harmful, as for example, the dodder, the parthenium, and other weeds. The pods of nettle and colocasia leaves cause itching. That is, if we consume them, we will find a very itching sensation. So, it is not good to consume such things. Now, even plants like oleander, lantana have strong odors. That is, they have a very strong smell. So, we can't stand over there, and the datura plant is poisonous, so it is very dangerous to consume a datura plant, so we have to be very careful, and we should not put anything in our mouth, any leaves or any flowers, without knowing about it. Now, sometimes what happens is there is a green color substance that we find on water bodies like lakes and ponds. So, this is nothing but it is the fungi and algae that grow on it. So, the uncontrolled growth of the fungi and algae in water pollutes the drinking water. That is, then the drinking water may get spoiled, and if we consume it, we may fall sick, and so this may cause the spread of diseases. So we have to be very careful of all these plants also. Now let's see how wild animals are harmful to human beings. Now we know that wild animals hunt other animals for food. So that is they therefore they are called predators because they prey on other animals for food. For example, the tiger, the lion, the wolf and the leopard. Now sometimes what happens is due to deforestation, that is if the jungles, the forest are cut and made use of for building the buildings or putting up factories and all that. So jungles and forests are cut down. So these wild animals in search of food, they come towards the human settlements because there are buildings built, okay, just outside the jungles. So such animals enter the human settlements because they want food, because their food has become limited now. We have cut the jungles, we have cut the forest, so they can't find food. So, in search of food, they come into this human settlements and they attack human beings. So, they take sometimes, often they have picked up children, picked up people, old people, and they have dragged them into the jungle and eaten them up. So, that is how wild animals are also very, very dangerous for human beings. Now, we should always remember that many plants and animals in nature satisfy our needs, isn't it? We just learned about it, how plants, are useful to us, how some of the animals are useful to us. So, therefore, the use of such plants and animals should be restricted only to our needs. Restricted to our needs means we should take as much as we want. We should use these plants and animals only for our needs, how much we need, and not attack or cut down or pollute these things unnecessarily. So we should not pluck leaves, flowers and fruits unnecessarily, and animals should not be hunted. Now there are many people who go into jungles just to hunt for fun, so that is not good. If you are hunting for food, then it is okay, and that also we should limit ourselves for how much we require. And these animals should not be teased just for fun. Sometimes we go to the zoo and we throw things at them, we tease the animals, so animals get agitated, they get irritated. So we should not do that, and it is our responsibility and duty of all of us to protect plants and animals, because it is like I told you about the food chain, we are all interconnected. So we as human beings are, it is our duty, it is our responsibility. So we should take care of these plants and animals, and we should not use it unnecessarily. That is, how much we require, that much only we should use it. Let's revise what we have learned: growth, respiration, excretion, reproduction, responsiveness to stimuli, movement, a definite lifespan, a cellular structure, are the characteristics of living things. So, all these are the different characteristics of living things. Now, the next point: animals grow for a certain period of their life. They don't grow throughout their life, but plants grow as long as they live. So, they continue growing, they continue spreading, they continue growing new branches and leaves. Third point: animals have specific organs for respiration, while plants respire through microscopic pores on their leaves and stems. Now, some of the animals breathe through lungs, some breathe through gills, some breathe through their skin. So, we know that animals have special organs for respiration, but plants breathe only through tiny pores that are there on the leaves and the stems. The next point: the process of eliminating waste products, that is, throwing the waste products from the body, is called excretion. So, we have learned that not only animals but even plants excrete and they throw out waste products in the form of sap or gum. All living things have the ability to reproduce. So, we know that all living things, whether animals or plants, produce their give birth to young ones. Next point: living things move because of their ability to respond to stimuli. So, because of a action and reaction. That is, if there is a stimuli, so living things will react to it. They will start moving, they will show some movement. So this is called responsiveness to stimuli, which is a characteristics with living things. Now, plants show spontaneous movements, but they cannot leave their place and go elsewhere as animals do. Now, spontaneous movements means they show movement where they are. That is, the leaves will move, the branches will move, the roots go deep into the soil in search of nutrients and water. So, this movement we see in plants, whereas they cannot move from one place to the other, but they do show movements. We have seen that creepers will move towards support. We also know that plants move towards sunlight. So, all this movement is what plants show, and that is called the spontaneous movement. But animals can move from one place to the other. The next point is living things have a definite lifespan at the end of which they die. So all living things cannot live forever. So they will, you know, give birth, that is, they are born and they will live a life, and then after some time, after a particular period of time, they will die. Next point, many animals and plants are useful to us in our daily life. Some animals and plants can be harmful also. We just studied that many of the animals and plants are very, very useful, but there are some animals and plants which are harmful, so we should be very careful of them. And the smallest unit of a living thing is the cell. We have learnt about the cellular structure. We have seen that some organisms are single cell, that is, the unicellular, and some are many, many cells, that is, multicellular. Do solve the textual exercise. And to check the answers for the textual exercise and for more free worksheets, please visit our website at www.jkacademypro.com.